Princess Diana's relative has recently revealed a significant truth, which the royal family may not want the public to hear. After years of remaining silent, she is now stepping out of the shadows with a story that is so powerful and revealing that it could reshape our understanding of Diana's world. This is not a fairy tale filled with glamour, but a raw and honest confession that sheds light on the heartbreak, secrets, and behind-the-scenes drama that everyone has tried to conceal. Once you learn what she has been withholding, there is no going back. For years, the public's attention was centered on Princess Diana, the beloved people's princess who captivated the world. However, within Diana's own family, there was another figure quietly present, Lady Jane Fellows, the lesser-known Spencer sibling. Unlike Diana's more public life, Lady Jane has long maintained a low profile, seldom granting interviews and shying away from the spotlight, even as her sister's fame reached unprecedented levels. Yet Lady Jane is now emerging from the shadows and drawing attention with her understated yet powerful influence. Jane was once very private and declined to appear in major documentaries about Diana, but those close to the Spencer family knew she was a quiet source of support for the people she loves. However, Jane's role changed when she traveled to Paris in 1997 with Prince Charles and her sister Lady Sarah to bring Diana's body home as the entire world was watching. In that heartbreaking moment, Jane stepped forward with dignity and grace, and even delivered a reading at Diana's funeral, which showed how close the two sisters were. Over the years, Jane's discreet actions have had a significant impact on William and Harry, from attending important events in their lives to welcoming them warmly at family gatherings. Lady Jane has become a trusted advisor, and some insiders say she is now well placed to help repair the rift between Harry and William. She understands the weight of royal responsibilities, but remains strongly devoted to the well-being of her family above all else. Another indication of her influence is that her daughter Laura is now the godmother of Princess Charlotte, showing how closely connected her branch of the Spencer family remains with the current royal generation. Although Lady Jane's name rarely dominates the news, those who follow royal events realize she is a significant figure behind the scenes. Some speculate that she is stepping forward now to uphold Diana's legacy by promoting genuine family unity. In a time when the royal family appears more divided, Lady Jane's unwavering support for her nephews and her commitment to her late sister's principles send a powerful message. The elusive Spencer may not seek media attention, but her growing influence could significantly impact the course of royal history. The night of Diana's tragic death, Laura Fellows experienced an overwhelming surge of emotion, while her mother, Lady Jane Fellows, and her aunt, Lady Sarah McCorquodale, were familiar public figures. After Princess Diana's death, Laura had tried to stay out of the spotlight, but after years of suppressing her emotions, she decided to share her experience during those haunting hours in August 1997. She was at home, half asleep, when her mother's anxious call jolted her awake. Something terrible had happened to Diana, and the details were unclear. Laura sat on the edge of the sofa, watching the television as breaking news bulletins hinted at a tragedy in Paris. Her anger grew with every contradictory update, as if the world couldn't decide what had truly happened. Fear gripped her heart, and she felt frustrated that no one seemed to have reliable information. When the news came that Diana had not survived, it burned her up inside. Laura's initial shock transformed into a powerful feeling of anger that she felt powerless to control. She was silenced by the enormity of the event, questioning why the people closest to Diana were not protected from the swirl of rumors, and why officials and reports were so disorganized. She was further enraged when her mother and Aunt Sarah flew to Paris to join Prince Charles in bringing Diana home, and she vividly remembers the helplessness of waiting in London, anxiously watching every news broadcast, hoping for some clarity. It seemed unreal that someone so full of warmth and compassion had been taken away forever, leaving her family to grapple with the shock. The global attention during the tragic night intensified Laura's grief, but it also ignited her determination to honor Diana's legacy. Over time, her initial anger gave way to a steadfast commitment to support Diana's sons and champion the causes she championed. Though the memories of that night still haunt her, Laura believes sharing her story can help her find acceptance and transform her heartbreak into a quiet yet unwavering dedication to preserving Diana's compassionate legacy. Since Princess Diana's passing in 1997, persistent rumors of a royal cover-up have continued to simmer. The world was stunned when reports emerged that Diana had suffered fatal injuries in a Paris tunnel. Almost immediately, theories began to circulate about whether key details had been hidden to protect the royal family family's reputation. Although various investigations and official statements attributed the crash to a combination of driver error and relentless paparazzi, many still question whether the full truth was ever disclosed. The immediate confusion on the night of the accident, with contradictory information filtering through official channels, contributed to the suspicion. Diana's sister, Lady Sarah McCorquodale, has spoken about her anguish that night. The reports and communication were confusing, sparking anger among critics who believed that if such crucial details were being handled so poorly, larger facts may also have been obscured. The 2007 inquest into Diana's death added fuel to the fire, as the jury ultimately ruled that Diana and her companion were unlawfully killed due to a combination of reckless driving and paparazzi interference. However, some involved parties hinted that the investigation did not address every underlying factor. The Spencer family's quiet but determined pursuit of thoroughness in the inquest made headlines, and while they never directly accused the palace of wrongdoing, their search for clarity left many wondering what additional truths they were seeking. Diana's own statements suggest she felt unprotected within the royal family, and that they dismissed her mental health struggles. The secret recordings she made for her biographer revealed a woman desperate to be heard, even if that meant going against royal protocols. While some argue it was a series of unfortunate events and media pressure, the accusations continued due to the stark contrast between Diana's openness and the royal family's traditional silence. Whether the accusations are valid or not, they reflect the lasting impact of Diana's story, even years later. The grand ancestral estate of the Spencer family, Althorp, has long been a symbol of tradition, history, and regal charm. However, since Princess Diana's tragic passing, this stately home has become the center of a family feud among her siblings, Lady Sarah McCorquodale, Lady Jane Fellows, and Charles Spencer, the 9th Earl Spencer. While the world remembers Diana as the beloved people's princess, her older brother and sisters have quietly tried to maintain peace, but tensions reportedly still flare behind the scenes. The root of the feud is believed to date back to their childhood, with Diana's parents' divorce allegedly making Sarah and Jane feel the need to be protective of their younger sister. When Diana married Prince Charles and gained worldwide fame, her siblings had to balance their desire for privacy with the intense public attention. Each sibling took a different path. Sarah focused on charity work, Jane maintained a private lifestyle, and Charles became the official steward of Althorp. After Diana's death, Althorp became a national treasure and her final resting place. However, there have been disagreements within the family about how best to honor her memory, with some favoring more public events and others wanting to protect the estate's tranquility. Sarah, who has been close to Princes William and Harry, prefers a respectful approach. Diana's charitable legacy is honored, but Jane, known for her reserved nature, believes excessive publicity diminishes Diana's memory. Although Charles, as the Earl, has the final decision, some accuse him of prioritizing modernization and media engagements to maintain the estate's profitability, which adds to the tension. Rumors suggest that Sarah and Jane are concerned about the ongoing rift between William and Harry, and they want Althorp to be a place that reminds the brothers of their mother's spirit, not a battleground for further conflict. However, official statements insist the family is united. Every year, discussions about Althorp's direction and who truly leads the Sparks family resurface during the gathering or significant anniversaries. It's clear that Diana's larger-than-life presence remains a powerful reminder, and the Spencer family must balance her cherished memory with their own goals, often feeling like an impending storm. For decades, Laura Fellows, Princess Diana's lesser-known niece, observed the media storm surrounding her famous aunt's life and tragic passing, while her mother, Lady Jane Fellows, and her aunt, Lady Sarah McCorquodale, each had their own moments in the spotlight. In contrast, Laura chose to fade into the background, attending family events quietly, supporting charitable causes, and keeping her feelings out of the reach of tabloids. According to those close to her, Laura felt a strong sense of responsibility to shield her cousins, Princes William and Harry, from additional heartache after the tragic death of Princess Diana. She witnessed how the intense media attention only exacerbated the family's grief, and she feared that any statement from her would further fuel an unforgiving press. Additionally, Laura felt her personal truth was overshadowed by the public's preference for more sensational royal news and exclusives. Rather than engaging in a battle against rumors and constant media scrutiny, she chose to be discreet, allowing her mother and aunt to speak when necessary. However, time has changed perspectives, and now that William and Harry have grown up and forged their own paths, Laura feels the moment has come to break her silence. In recent months, new discussions about Diana's final hours and revelations about who knew what and when have brought brought back painful memories. Laura believes that her story, the story of a niece trying to cope with grief and unanswered questions, can shed more light on that chaotic night in August 1997. She hopes that her voice will finally help balance the wild rumors swirling about Diana's passing and highlight the emotional toll it took to let the official narrative go unchallenged. She's speaking now, not to tarnish anyone's reputation or stir up controversy. Diana's compassion and humanity were unwavering, and her niece Laura hopes to honor this by sharing how her aunt's death truly affected her. Laura aims to keep Diana's spirit alive in a way that goes beyond the headlines. Her decision to come forward is rooted in the same motivation that kept her quiet for decades: love for her aunt, respect for her cousins, and the desire to protect Diana's enduring legacy. Shocking diary entries that were previously sealed have surfaced, and sometimes a single written page can change how we view a person forever. This is exactly what happened when Princess Diana's private diary entries allegedly surfaced, sending shockwaves through both her supporters and critics. For years, the world believed it had learned all there was to know about the beloved people's princess, but then came whispers of handwritten notes tucked away in storage or hidden by close friends. According to those close to her, these personal journals depict the profound emotional hardship Diana experienced due to her role in the royal family. She documented her anxieties about the relentless media attention and her profound isolation, despite being the most frequently photographed woman in the world. Some entries reveal her intense frustration with the rigid expectations of palace life, where every public action had to be impeccable. Those who read these pages will witness a side of Diana that few outside her inner circle ever saw: a young woman struggling to cope with the overwhelming demands placed upon her. The diaries reflected Diana's complex experience, as they conveyed both the glamour and the confinement she felt. However, they also revealed her deep affection for her sons, William and Harry. Diana wrote enthusiastically about shielding them from the harsh media scrutiny, hoping they would witness genuine compassion. Beyond the palace boundaries, she describes the happiness of taking them on a private visit to meet AIDS patients, so they could directly learn the strength of kindness, humility, and commitment. Diana's letters reflected the values she wanted to instill in her sons. The diaries also detailed the traumas she endured, not only from public scrutiny, but also from betrayals by those she thought were close friends. While there was heartbreak and anger, there was also a strong determination to overcome it all. The writings show Diana's transformation from a shy, unsure teenager into a powerful advocate for humanitarian causes. The notes reveal a person who refused to let her heartbreak define her, instead focusing on the work that filled her with purpose, like supporting charities, visiting hospitals, and standing by the marginalized in society. Despite doubts about the authenticity of these leaked writings, those close to Diana insist they accurately depict a woman who generously gave her heart to others, yet often felt isolated. The rift between William and Harry, despite their shared family history and once close bond, continues to make headlines, as royal observers wonder if the brothers will ever reconcile. At the heart of this lies Princess Diana's legacy, which both brothers cherish, though even this shared dedication to their late mother has not brought them together. The rift between the two brothers has not been easily mended. However, Diana's sisters, Lady Sarah and Lady Jane, have quietly offered support to both William and Harry since their mother's death. Sarah remains active in charitable causes close to Diana's heart, while Jane's calm presence has kept her on good terms with the royal family, even during the brothers' public disputes. Despite the ongoing tensions, William and Harry's attendance at Jane's husband's funeral suggests a glimmer of hope for reconciliation. Despite the deep divide between them, William and Harry attended the same event to honor their beloved uncle, suggesting that personal ties can overcome even the biggest differences. However, tensions remain, fueled by Harry's move to the US, his public remarks about royal life, and their contrasting views on duty and tradition. While William feels protective of the institution he will one day lead, Harry prioritizes his family's freedom and well-being over preserving royal protocols, further straining the rift that began when Harry stepped back from official duties. Despite the public events honoring their mother, only William and Harry truly know if there is a realistic path to reconciliation. While Lady Sarah and Lady Jane discreetly encourage peace, love, and unity, it remains uncertain whether these efforts will mend the rift. However, the lingering family bond inspired by Diana's memory provides a glimmer of hope, however faint, for a potential reconciliation, though it may seem distant. The existence of any physical evidence, such as pages or letters, that could reveal Princess Diana's deepest fears, final wishes, or a plea for help remains unknown. Persistent rumors suggest that Diana's private diaries and personal notes, which could shed new light on her emotional state before her tragic accident apartment in Paris have gone missing. While some close to the late princess claim that only fragments like occasional letters to friends remain, others believe more extensive writings are still undiscovered. Notably, Diana herself acknowledged feeling isolated by the royal family's machinery, which she believed failed to protect her and her close relatives, including her sisters. Diana's confidants have hinted that she recorded her concerns in writing, especially when she felt ignored by official channels and was deeply troubled by the paparazzi's intrusion. Due to the difficulties and rigorous requirements of palace living, Diana reportedly coped by writing down everything from emotional confessions to plans for a more peaceful life. After her tragic death in 1997, the Spencer family rushed to preserve Diana's legacy and protect her privacy from the international media. Some of her documents and diaries were allegedly locked away at Althorp, the Spencer family's ancestral home, which also serves as Diana's final resting place. Over time, various individuals have claimed to have seen or handled these private materials, but none have provided conclusive evidence, as the family seems determined to honor her memory discreetly. There are growing fears of a potential royal backlash ever since whispers and rumors have emerged that some of the late Princess Diana's own family members, particularly those closest to her, were allegedly ready to reveal previously hidden or suppressed details about the final days and circumstances surrounding her untimely and tragic death. Talk of possible retaliation and repercussions from the powerful and tightly guarded monarchy has grown increasingly louder and more palpable in recent times. Many well-placed insiders and royal observers believe that the Windsor family and the institution of the monarchy itself are currently unwilling to allow any new disclosures or revelations that could further damage the carefully cultivated and guarded public image and reputation of the royal family. Those who are closest to the Spencer family, Diana's own relatives and inner circle, have reported sensing an underlying current of unease, concern, and an almost unspoken fear that any attempt to go against or challenge the royal establishment might ultimately lead to doors being firmly closed, sources being suddenly silenced, and sudden isolation from the most powerful and influential arms of the royal institution. These deep-seated concerns and apprehensions are not merely based on vague, unsubstantiated rumors, as certain notable events and incidents over the years have served to fuel genuine worry and trepidation about potential royal retribution. The untimely deaths of several individuals who were believed to have intimate knowledge of Princess Diana's final days, as well as the legal battles and public relations struggles faced by those who have previously attempted to shed light on certain aspects of her life and demise, have only heightened these fears and suspicions among the Spencer family and their allies. The monarchy appears determined to maintain its closely guarded secrets and veil of privacy, even if it means employing heavy-handed tactics to suppress any further disclosures. The palace promptly suppresses stories about Diana's confidential letters, hinting that her personal affairs are better kept private. Even the mention of diaries revealing Diana's unguarded side has been met with firm warnings about respecting the royal family's privacy. To some, this is not just polite guidance, but a message that the monarchy will firmly uphold long-standing traditions, where silence and unwavering loyalty are non-negotiable. Diana's Spencer family members, particularly her sisters Lady Sarah McCorquodale and Lady Jane Fellows, recognize the delicate balance between preserving Diana's memory and causing a stir. The royal institution has been highly cautious and strategic in controlling the narrative surrounding its affairs. They have often adopted a cautious and reserved approach, preferring to step back and avoid escalating tensions, despite their strong desire to keep the memory and spirit of Princess Diana alive. The royal family is acutely aware of the potential consequences and repercussions that could arise if they were to engage too closely with sensitive royal matters and controversies. Moreover, Diana's own nieces and nephews, such as Laura Fellows, who have their own personal memories, experiences, and unanswered questions related to their aunt, have reportedly received subtle yet unmistakable cautionary signals when they have considered speaking out publicly on these matters. Even in the absence of any explicit or official threats, the mere potential for private pressure, veiled warnings, or implied consequences has been enough to make these individuals hesitate and reconsider agreeing to major media interviews or making their voices heard. The royal establishment fiercely guards and protects its long-standing traditions, reputation, and the carefully curated public perception of the monarchy. As critics have suggested, the so-called firm, a term used to refer to the core members of the royal family and their advisors, relies extensively on a vast network of resources, connections, and influence to effectively maintain a tight grip on the flow of information and to prevent any damaging revelations or unwanted scrutiny from reaching the public domain. This strategic approach to managing the royal narrative extends beyond just the the core members of the family. It also encompasses the wide circle of staff, courtiers, and other individuals who are closely affiliated with the monarchy, all of whom have been conditioned to exercise a high degree of discretion and loyalty, further reinforcing the royal institution's ability to control the flow of information and public discourse surrounding its affairs. Whether through influencing media coverage or discreetly discouraging family members from revealing certain truths, the unofficial allies of the British monarchy might suggest that falling out of royal favor could profoundly impact various aspects of one's life. From securing desirable public invitations to maintaining cherished family connections, these allies are believed to wield considerable sway, wielding their influence to protect the institution of the monarchy. Laura Fellows, a quiet and unassuming figure who never intended to create waves in the royal realm, now finds herself on the verge of a new chapter that could reshape how the world remembers the late Princess Diana for years to come. Long known as the reclusive niece, the daughter of Diana's sister Lady Jane Fellows, Laura has carefully cultivated a low profile and avoided the public eye, prioritizing a calm life centered on her close-knit family. However, whispers from those in Laura's inner circle suggest that she now holds fresh, potentially revelatory insights into the final hours of Princess Diana's life and the emotional aftermath that followed her untimely passing. Friends close to Laura claim her recent decision to potentially speak up and share her knowledge stems from a bold and unwavering desire for transparency, as she reportedly grows weary of watching various conspiracy theories and speculations unfold without the benefit of first-hand accounts. The stakes are high, as the monarchy's unofficial allies are believed to be closely monitoring the situation, wary of any potential disclosures that could challenge the established narrative surrounding Princess Diana's death. Laura's choice to break her silence, if she indeed does so, could reverberate through the halls of power and reshape the public's understanding of one of the most captivating and tragic figures in modern royal history. Laura's heart sinks as she listens to the endless stream of distorted and superficial information about her beloved aunt's past dominating the public discourse. The pain of witnessing this heartbreak within her own family is almost unbearable, and she feels utterly powerless to stop it. Driven by a deep sense of duty and a fierce desire to protect her aunt's legacy, Laura has made the courageous decision to step forward and set the record straight. Not only does she want to correct the factual inaccuracies that have taken hold, but Laura is also determined to safeguard her aunt's memory in a culture that remains captivated by sensationalism and salacious gossip. However, her actions are not without risk, as Laura is well aware of the formidable power wielded by the royal establishment and those who seek to preserve Diana's story within the confines of a polished, idealized tradition. The monarchy has a long history of fiercely guarding its privacy, often using its considerable influence to silence and shut down any attempts to deviate from the official narrative. Even unofficial channels and informal networks have developed ways of closing ranks around those who dare to stray too far from the approved script. Laura knows that her decision to speak out could potentially invite subtle yet relentless resistance from these powerful forces. Despite the significant risks and potential backlash she may face, Laura remains resolute and unwavering in her commitment to honoring her Aunt Diana's true legacy. She deeply understands that the battle to reclaim and accurately portray Diana's memory and life story will be an arduous and uphill one, fraught with challenges and opposition from various quarters. However, Laura is driven by a profound sense of moral obligation and a deep-seated, almost visceral desire to ensure that her aunt's story is told with the utmost dignity, nuance, and respect it deserves. Fueled by her unwavering love, admiration, and respect for the woman she cherished so deeply, Laura stands ready to face the daunting challenges that lie ahead with an iron determination. She is acutely aware that the royal family and the palace have sought to maintain a carefully scripted and oftentimes sanitized narrative regarding the circumstances surrounding Diana's life and tragic death. Yet Laura is resolute in her commitment to shedding light on the full complexity and multifaceted nature of her aunt's persona, personal struggles, and humanitarian legacy. While some within the royal circles and the public may believe that Laura's calm, thoughtful, and measured approach may actually promote productive and meaningful discussions, especially among the family members who are deeply committed to honoring Princess Diana's remarkable humanitarian and compassionate legacy, others feel that she has strayed dangerously from the official and tightly controlled narrative that the palace has worked tirelessly to preserve. Undeterred by the potential criticism and resistance she may face, Laura remains steadfast in her conviction that the truth about Diana's life and legacy deserves to be told, no matter how uncomfortable or inconvenient it may be for certain members of the royal family or the palace's public relations machinery. She is driven by a deep-seated belief that her aunt's story, in all its complexity and humanity, must be reclaimed and shared with the world, allowing Diana's memory to be honored and celebrated in a way that truly does justice to the remarkable woman she was. In the coming weeks and months, many close observers of the royal family expect Laura to tread very carefully, meticulously balancing her personal desire to share the complete, unvarnished truth about Diana's final days with her understandable wish to avoid stirring up any unnecessary or potentially damaging controversy that could further divide the royal household. There is already growing speculation that Laura may eventually collaborate on a private authorized memoir or grant a measured, in-depth interview that explores the intricate, behind-the-scenes details of Diana's final days leading up to the fatal car accident in Paris. The public response to any such revelations from Laura is likely to be wide-ranging and volatile, encompassing everything from enthusiastic support and admiration for her fresh, honest perspective that challenges the official royal narrative to scathing criticism and backlash from more traditional conservative royal loyalists who view any public disclosure of private information as a betrayal of the monarchy's carefully curated image and a gross violation of the family's cherished code of silence. Those who support Laura's decision to speak out will praise her courage and commitment to shedding light on the realities of life within the royal family, which they believe have been shrouded in secrecy and mystique for far too long. They will applaud her willingness to honor the memory of Princess Diana by continuing her legacy of openness and authenticity, even in the face of intense pressure to conform to the rigid protocols and expectations of the institution. These sympathizers will argue that the public has a right to know the truth about the challenges, tensions, and even abuses that may have occurred behind the palace walls, and that Laura's revelations could inspire much-needed reform and accountability within the monarchy. On the other side, the more traditionalist and conservative royal supporters will denounce Laura's actions as a betrayal of the family's trust and a flagrant disregard for the sanctity of the monarchy. They will accuse her of exploiting her privileged position for personal gain and of tarnishing the carefully curated public image that the royal household has worked so hard to maintain. These critics will argue that the monarchy's enduring mystique and perceived infallibility are essential to its continued relevance and respected status, and that any breach of the family's code of silence threatens to undermine the very foundations of the institution. Ultimately, Laura's actions in the coming months will be closely watched, analyzed, and debated as she navigates the delicate balance between honoring Diana's legacy of openness and authenticity and the demands of the royal establishment to preserve the monarchy's carefully cultivated image and reputation. The public discourse surrounding her choices will be a reflection of the broader tensions and divisions within society as people grapple with the competing values of transparency, loyalty, and the preservation of tradition.